This is the Skyler Jarvis Show!
What's up, everybody? This is the Skyler Jarvis Show, and I'm your host, Skyler. And in today's podcast, we're talking about Inauguration Day. Now, Monday, for me at least, was a pretty celebratory day. We witnessed Trump take office for his second non-consecutive term. This is the first president in a while that we've had non-consecutive runs from. And there's a lot of change being made. A lot. And you want to talk about change? This man is getting in there. He's signing executive orders on stuff that, needed to be taken care of anyway. The Biden administration had really slacked on that. And, this is not me being, I'm not trying to make you choose what end of the side, basically. To be honest with you, I don't really care if you're Democrat or Republican. To me, it's about whether you have common sense. And the Biden-Harris administration failed to do that. You had illegal aliens coming in, bunch of illegal aliens just flooding in America. And not only that, but race and this DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, this stuff was pushed in school. Critical race theory was pushed in school. So many things that the Biden administration failed at, that Trump is getting in there, and he's changing a lot of this stuff. So, for those of you who haven't been in the news here lately, America is starting to do millions of deportations everywhere of illegal aliens and sending them back to where they were in the first place, back to their countries, back to their states. The half. You know the whole thing. So the Trump administration is getting in there and setting a lot of this stuff straight. Now, on the whole illegal alien stuff, I think we should have definitely been watching for that stuff. I mean, yeah, we're not saying that people can't migrate here. We're not saying that somebody that really wants to come and make a life for themselves in America cannot come up here. It's just that you can't come illegally. That is the problem that, a lot of these Democratic states are, they're sitting there talking about how it's such a bad thing that Trump's doing all these deportations, like we're actually trying to stop these people from living their lives. But did you know that most of the illegal aliens that they've allowed to come in here are on the terrorist watch list? Some of them are on the terrorist watch list, and others are criminals of every kind, of every gang. Like, you've got all kinds of gangs up here, and rapes and murders on the streets, and these people do nothing. These people don't care whether 10 or 20 Americans lose their lives because some illegal alien came in from a terrorist organization and shot 10, 20, 30 American citizens. No, they don't worry about that. They got to worry about keeping them in here because it's their right. It's their right. Yeah. So there's been a lot of stuff going on this week. There was one illegal alien that was basically, he was screaming F Trump at the top of his, at top of his voice. Biden, thank you for everything you've done. Obama, thank you for everything you've done. And I'm sitting here like, well, what did he do? He let a bunch of gangs like yours into America and let you guys rape and pillage and murder and basically did nothing. So they basically gave you free reign. So of course he's pissed off. But we've got so much unemployment because they're letting all these illegals get jobs, but when it comes time for Americans to get jobs, they don't have any room, or they want to do this online bullshit. I mean, the online work is good, if you like for my buddy Matthew, like if you really still want to work there, but you're in another place and they don't have a factory where you're working, yeah, the online working would be good for you. But normal people that are actually at these places and can drive to these places or hitch a ride in the case of blind people, we don't have those opportunities because so many of the illegal immigrants are getting all those jobs. And another thing I want to bring up is how the homeless have been treated. Like, these illegal aliens get set up in nice houses, while they leave Americans on the streets, homeless Americans on the streets, and basically do nothing. What the heck, man? So I'm really glad Trump has gotten in there and taken action, And one thing I really want to mention to all the Trump supporters, all the Biden supporters, everybody. I'm talking to everybody here. Regardless what leader we have, he's an earthly leader. Biden was an earthly leader. God put Biden in there maybe to show America how bad it needed to get to open people's eyes to what was really going on behind the scenes. And God put Trump in for a reason. We don't know exactly what, we don't know what's to come of this election or this term. Things are going good right now, but it could easily turn. That's something I want everybody to consider. All this division between the Democrat and Republican Party, it doesn't really make a crap. At the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, whether you're Democrat or Republican doesn't matter. And I believe wholeheartedly that people should get in a room and talk about things like this and be able to come, even though they might not agree with everything somebody says. You might have something that you might be in the dark about, and then they come along and educate you. That doesn't mean you have to believe the way they do. And that's the main problem with society nowadays. It's all about, what side you're on. When frankly, it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you have common sense, that's what matters at the end of the day. We are humans. We mess up. Trump messes up. Biden messes up. And another thing I want to talk about on that same wavelength is Trump and Obama. A few days before the inauguration, were sitting down and talking like normal human beings. You know, they weren't going back and forth. You know, Trump actually made Obama laugh. So my main point with this is, if two people from opposing sides can do something like that and show it publicly, what does that say about their supporters? You might not agree with everything Trump does or is doing, but you can sit and talk to somebody who does and maybe get a different opinion, or maybe, the Trump supporter might get something from what you say. Who knows? But all this division and, I don't believe the way you do, so I don't talk to you, I don't associate with you, that it is stupid, man. It's very stupid, and it's really about nothing at the end of the day. I mean, really. Like these Democrats sitting there having meltdowns because Trump got in the office. Like, you knew this was going to happen in the first place. Why are you crying and screaming and acting like a baby on the internet so you can have people react to you? Come on, man. We don't do this type of shit whenever y'all get in office. I mean, really, man, you don't hear Republicans throwing fits because Joe Biden got in there. Yeah, a lot of people were PO'd, but, you didn't hear them just because daggone Biden got in there. And we had to deal with 4 years of his shit. 4 years. And all these people making baseless claims. I mean, look, I don't know what Trump's done in his past. I don't know, he might have committed criminal offense. I don't know. I'm not Donald Trump. But what I do know is whatever happened at some point in his earlier life, whatever happened is between him and God. And another thing, these people, these Democratic leaders sitting there, I don't support rapists, so I'm not going to the inauguration. Why are you following such a baseless claim that the Democrat Party threw around anyway? I mean, come on, man. It's stupid. It's all a ploy to get people divided. It's all about division. How many people can we get to go against Donald Trump and the Republicans? See, before Trump got in office, I didn't think the Republicans were doing anything worth a damn either. I'm just being honest with you. I didn't find anything that they were doing. All they were doing was going back and forth with the Democrats. The Democrat person would be handing out masks, and then a Republican guy would go paint "Let's Go Brandon" on his garage. Like, come on, man. You're being no different than them. And at the end of the day, we're all human beings. So what does it matter anyway? Democrat, Republican, we bleed red. Everybody. We bleed red. We might not think the same. We might not act the same as each other. But we are human beings. And I bet you Biden's done some crazy crap in his early life. I bet you George Bush, Obama, all them have done crazy stuff in their lives. But let's not forget how our nation was born. And it was through Christ. Let's not forget the God who died for our sins to save us from eternal damnation. And that leads me into another thing. When the American people are openly denouncing Jesus Christ, denouncing the Bible, then our nation is going to start to fall. And one thing that Trump made clear in his inauguration speech, we will not forget our God. That's a bold statement right there. We will not forget our God. Whenever you have ceremonies like the 2024 Olympics, which had a mockery of the Last Supper, and you have events in LA like that, this comedian making fun of God, you have so many people openly getting on TV and denouncing Jesus Christ. This is why a lot of Christians say we're in the end times, ladies and gentlemen. And this is just me being open with you right now, and I 100% believe it. If you look at the evidence, it all points to that. Another thing Trump did was, I think it was Thursday by 5 p.m., all teachers that were teaching diversity, equity, inclusion were put on leave. Let me put this out here. I think that was a great move on Trump's part. I think DEI was killing America. It was teaching our kids to be divided. Whether, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this, whether you were a gay or lesbian or transgender or whatever you are, they were always made to feel like they were bigger and better than you are. When, as I said, at the end of the day, they're human beings, you're human beings, but they acted like transgenders, gays, blah, 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 whole 9 yards, had more rights than you did. Like, nobody was telling gay people that they couldn't be in a classroom or they couldn't be in a workplace because they were gay. A lot of the time they kept it to themselves. Now people just so openly talk about it. It's crazy, man. I mean, back when we were growing, even back 20 years ago, people didn't talk about if they were gay. People didn't talk about it openly. And that just shows you how far everything's come. Now, how much things are accepted in culture. It was crazy, man. Crazy. and they made you feel like you had, or they had more rights than you do, because they felt like they weren't getting enough attention. So I honestly think that was a good move. And Trump sure has taken action. You say what you want about Donald Trump, and Eminem sitting there saying that he promises stuff that he can't deliver on. Well, that should prove you wrong, Eminem. Progress is already being felt. Chew on that for a minute, Eminem. And even some Democrat people are coming around. Like, especially on the deportation thing. Now that people are starting to realize what they mean and how many criminals we've let into this state, into this nation, into the United States of America. It just shows you how many people really didn't know the scope of it. Didn't know how many gangs they really let in. Or maybe they did and they're just turning around because they don't want to look suspicious. I don't know. But I still think that was a decent move. So, moving on from politics, there is something I want to talk about, and it's been right under my nose for a few weeks now, and I still didn't notice it until Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you. Shout out to my boy Chase Shepard. You're the man. He told me basically that was happening, and I double checked everything, and everything seemed to be pointing toward the same thing. So, for those of you who don't know NLS, National Library Service, it's a really good service for the blind. They provide Braille books. They provide Braille e-readers. They also have this talking book player from 2009. So it's the NLS. I think the original one is a DA1 audiobook player. It's just got a cartridge slot on it, and it's got a flash drive where you can connect a flash drive and play books off of it. But they are coming up with an upgrade for that one, and it's called the DA2 audiobook player. It's made by Humanware, and I'm not going to lie, it kind of reminds me of the Victor Reader Strata, or the Victor Reader Classic, the way it's set up. So it's called the DA2 audiobook player. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. It's got 28 gigs of storage. And you can download all your books from the website that's on the website to the player to be able to listen to them anywhere. Now, how cool is that? You don't even have to have cartridges anymore, but it has a cartridge slot. And shout out to the National Library Service for the Blind. If anybody from there hears this, I want to know more info about this DA2 book player. For real. I want to get a showcase of this shit. Yeah. So the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities are really going to make a big difference. I mean, the fact that you can hook a Bluetooth thing up to this book player, that's gonna be crazy. Imagine that, man. Imagine being able to listen to the books that you've downloaded hands free, no wires in the headset on the book player. That is going to be awesome. And then the Wi-Fi capability where you can sign into the site and then download the books you want onto your book player. That is going to be cool, man. That is going to be cool. They had this newsletter, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I downloaded the photo of it that was actually in that newsletter to my phone just so I could look at it and take it all in, man. Because once we get this thing, it's supposed to be coming out in the spring. But once we get this thing, I'm going to be all hands on deck, man. I'm going to take that thing every dag-nabbing where. Everywhere that goes. Everywhere I go, that book player's going to go. I'm going to have me a bunch of books on it. I'm going to get me the Holy Bible on it. Give me all kinds of books. So that's basically been my week, guys. So I hope you've really enjoyed this podcast. And me and Carson are hopefully going to do a drumming vlog sometime this week. And it should be out either next week or the week after that. Depends on what's all going on. But me and him definitely plan to do a drumming vlog, because this is the last week the Brushy Mountain Brews is going to be open. And on one of the days they're closed, like before they open back up, before they shut down for good, me and Carson are going to go in there and do a drumming vlog. And I got, because I got to get my drum set out of there anyway. So, yeah, that's coming up. Be looking out for that. And like I said, I really hope you've enjoyed this podcast. So without further ado, this is Skyler Jarvis signing off. Peace!